All right, let's talk about something so many of us feel passionate about: pet adoption. It's supposed to be this amazing, joyful experience, right? But for way too many people, it ends up feeling, well, like a confusing maze of frustration.
Wow. This quote, it just hits you, right? I just got excited about a dog I know should be mine, but now it is left up to strangers to decide if I am worthy. I mean, think about that. You found a potential soulmate, you're ready to give them a home, and suddenly, you're being judged? It begs the question, why does saving a life sometimes feel less like a rescue and more like a high-stakes job interview?
So that brings us to what we're calling the adoption gauntlet. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It's this whole process that can make finding a furry friend feel like an impossible mission.
Okay, so what does this journey usually look like? Well, first, you've got the application. And we're not talking about a one-pager. These things can be super detailed. Then comes the vet check. They're going to look into the history of every pet you've ever owned. After that, maybe a home assessment, or you're sending in photos of your living room. And then you wait. It's that anxious period where you're just wondering what's happening. These are exactly the hoops people get so frustrated with.
And if we look a little closer, the requirements are pretty standard across the board, right? You got to be over 21. All your current pets need to be fixed and up to date on their shots and heartworm meds. And you'll definitely have to sign a legally binding contract. Now, that contract usually has a really important clause. If for any reason you can't keep the pet, it has to go back to the rescue. It's their way of creating a lifelong safety net for that animal.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, why is it all so intense? And that's fair, but to really get it, we have to flip the script and look at it from the rescue's point of view. For them, it's not about being difficult. It's about protecting an animal that's already been through enough.
The driving force behind all of this is something called risk aversion. Basically, every single rule, every single hoop they ask you to jump through, it's there for a reason. And that reason is usually a heartbreaking story from the past. A dog that was returned in bad shape, or neglected, or abused. So these policies are like a shield, built from past trauma, to try and make sure it never, ever happens again.
And when you break it down, each piece of the puzzle makes sense from their perspective. Those vet checks, they're looking for a track record of responsible pet ownership. The strict spay and neuter policy, that's a direct shot at fighting pet overpopulation. And that mandatory return clause, that's the rescue's promise to that animal for its entire life. We've got your back no matter what.
But here's where it gets really complicated. This is the central tension, the big paradox. Are these rules, all designed to protect the animals, actually hurting them in the long run? Are we creating a system where good, loving people get turned away, and as a result, amazing dogs and cats are left waiting in foster homes for weeks, months, sometimes even years for a perfect home that might never come?
And this tension really boils down to two completely different ways of thinking. You've got the strict policy approach. The goal there is safety first. The focus is on finding that 1 in a million perfect home, and the method is basically to screen people out. Then you have the open policy approach. Here, the goal is just to save as many lives as possible. The focus is on counseling people in, working with them to create a great outcome. And this is the part that's so tough. Think about it. The super strict rules. They don't actually stop someone who's irresponsible from getting a pet. They'll just go to a breeder or look online. But who do the rules stop? They often stop well-meaning, responsible people who just get fed up with the process and give up. And that's the real tragedy. A perfectly good home is lost, and a rescue animal stays homeless.
So that's the cost of all this caution, right? Animals spending way too long in limbo. Which leads to the million-dollar question. Do these strict rules even work? Does being tougher actually lead to better results? Let's see what the numbers say.
Let's just put it out there, plain and simple. Do all these strict adoption rules actually lead to better long-term outcomes for the animals? Do they make a real difference?
Well, get ready for this because the answer might surprise you. The data shows that the average return rate for adopted animals is somewhere between 7 and 10%. But here's the kicker. Research shows that when rescues get rid of their most restrictive policies, that number doesn't go up. It stays the same. So all those hoops, all those barriers, they aren't actually preventing returns. What they are doing is keeping animals from getting into homes in the first place.
So, with this new understanding, a lot of rescues are starting to think differently. A whole new philosophy is taking hold, and it's changing the entire game of animal adoption for the better.
It's a model called Adopters Welcome, and the core idea is really simple but also kind of revolutionary. Start by assuming that people are good. Assume they're coming to you with a loving heart, wanting to provide a great home. So the focus completely shifts. It's not about screening people out anymore, it's about counseling them in. It's a conversation to find the perfect match.
And you can really see the difference side by side. The old way, assume risk, look for reasons to say no. The new way, assume good intent and find ways to say yes. The process goes from a rigid pass-fail application to a real conversation. And the result? Well, the old way blocks good adopters and saves fewer lives. The new way gets more pets into homes. It's that simple.
And this isn't just theory, it's happening in the real world. A perfect example is a Seniors for Seniors program. Instead of automatically turning down older folks, they match them with older, calmer pets who are a great fit for their lifestyle. But they don't stop there. They often lower the fees, they might help out with vet care, and they always guarantee to take the pet back if anything happens. It's all about support, not barriers.
So, all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. In our quest to find the absolute perfect owner, are we accidentally becoming the enemy of the saved life? It's a heavy thought, but it's one that's pushing the entire world of animal rescue toward a better, more compassionate future.